Hello there, Virgo, and welcome to your October reading. It's always great to see you, and I can't wait to share the information that's coming through for your sign this month. I'd like to start off simply by saying welcome back to everybody that has been supporting me all these months and all these years. It means a lot to me. If you're brand new, a nice warm welcome as well. Let me introduce who I am and tell you a little bit about what I do here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Every month, I like to separate the reading into a few different parts. I begin with channeled information, and this is when I just connect directly to intuition and share what I feel, hear, and see with you. After that, I use the cards and I will lay out a full Celtic cross to look at all the highs, the lows, and everything in between for the month ahead. I've designed this reading so that you can use it for your sun, your rising, or your moon sign. Feel free to watch all three if you know that. And of course, you can always watch for someone that you love in your life. Now, if you don't happen to know sun, rising, and moon, then just stick with the sign that you were born under and you're going to get all the guidance that you need by doing that. As you can tell, this is a really comprehensive overview of everything that you can see for the month ahead. So if you like what you see, and I certainly hope you do, please stick around until the very end. At that point, in addition to giving a nice summary of everything we discussed here, I will also go into how you can support the channel. This includes everything from liking and subscribing to sharing on social media, booking an appointment, or even becoming a patron. I'll go into what all of that means and also how you can do that, but I'm going to save that until the end because I know you care about the reading and I want to get straight into the channeled information for the month of October. All right, Virgo, as I selected a deck of cards and I began to meditate on your sign, what I started to see was you getting ahead of a ball that was being thrown in the air. And it was as if you were kind of anticipating or even kind of communicating where that was going, what direction things were heading. And as I wrote down my thoughts in automatic writing, I realized that what this was symbolizing was being proactive. If you are able to visualize what's going on, where it's headed, and you can target the location of whatever it is you're trying to do, you can prepare people around you. You can also get ahead of communication. And this was part of the second piece that I got, which is if there's any sort of news, be it good, bad, or just something where you want people to be on board, the way that you're going to really be able to successfully navigate that this month is by letting people know with as much advance notice as possible. Even having smaller conversations with people to help basically bring everyone into onto the same page and into the sort of same energy. And that is the final thing that I tuned into, which was to be positive. So I wrote all of this down. It was basically be proactive, be positive, and to manage, or I would say here, like to get ahead of all of the communications. An additional thing that I didn't have a chance to capture in automatic writing is that you have a lot more power than you think you might have. Not only in the timing of what you say, but as I've been saying with a few signs this month, it's been coming through with a lot of swords cards. I think the tone that you choose, the words, the vocabulary, all of that's going to be really important. So just realize that your communication style and skills, this can be what really makes or breaks your success this month. One last note, the fact that I saw that it looked like it was like a baseball flying through the air, that's showing me that there is movement happening this very month. Whatever has possibly been stagnating in the past, I feel like things have to shift. Your challenge, your opportunity is to stay ahead of that or stay with it so that you're not playing catch up, okay? So let's go ahead now and take a look at the cards and see what additional insights they have to yield, not only on that channeled message, but anything else that's coming through for the month ahead. At this point, I'm going to remain quiet, but afterwards, I will pull up each and every card and we'll talk about how it relates to you. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your Catalyst card. There are a couple of messages here, but first let me just remind you how the Catalyst functions. One, it is going to connect all of these cards together, so this kind of sets the tone for the reading. Two, it helps you align to the highest frequency of the month. This is going to give you the information that you need to avoid pitfalls, to sort of steer yourself into a positive trajectory. The message on the card says, First Light, beginning a new cycle. The first light portion of this, I believe, has to do with what time of day you need to sort of set this into motion. And I think for many of you, this is because you're busy. You could be a mom, you could be a student, you could be just sort of having a difficult time fitting meditation or some sort of spiritual practice in at the end of the day because you're exhausted. So I would actually challenge you this month to carve out between 1 to 3 minutes. That's it. Not an hour, not 15 minutes, 1 to 3 minutes. So like 60 seconds, if you can do that every morning, I think that would be amazing. And this can be a part of your routine as you brush your teeth, as you wash your hair, as you shave, whatever your sort of routine is in the morning. Take a little break during that in the privacy of the bathroom, or even before you go there in your bed, as before you hit snooze on the alarm, just be present for a second. Like turn the alarm off, but then stay in bed, eyes closed, and start to focus on your intention for the day. For those of you that suffer from insomnia, this is also something that you can do in the early parts of the morning, because once upon a time I studied how to be a yoga teacher, and I learned that 3 o'clock in the morning is actually kind of a magical time to connect to the spiritual energies. It had something to do with the alignment of the earth and the sun. I also think that it's a very thin thread between the spiritual side of the world and then the physical side. Things are quiet, your mind is quiet, and the energy is far more accessible for everybody, no matter how spiritually inclined you are. So if you find yourself awake in the early part of the morning, or right before your feet hit the floor, if it's 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock, I don't care what time you get up, whenever you are ready to start your day, I want you to spend a moment and think to yourself, today is brand new. Whatever I was carrying with me yesterday, especially if it felt heavy, especially if it felt like it was preventing you from moving towards your goal, I want you to feel like in this moment, in this fresh morning, that anything is possible. And those 2 or 3 words, anything is possible, 3 words. This is going to be your breakthrough mantra that is going to allow you to approach each day with hope. And hope is a powerful thing. It can move mountains, it can move through any sort of physical or emotional energy that you have. And I think that if you can make some room to get on that fresh slate, clean slate, and attach to hope, that's going to be really effective. Do this for a month, and then if you like it, start to see what it is you want to do and imagine yourself in that space. So at first, kind of like repeating that mantra, anything is possible, or I can do it, or I'm doing it. These things are really effective, but then I want you to literally and visually see yourself in that space. What does it smell like? What does it look like? How does it feel? Really start to embody that feeling of accomplishment, of success, of realization, of that visualization. This is what's going to bring you closer to your power, to accomplishing your goals, and it only takes a minute. So everybody has time for 1 minute of meditation. Do it as you are sitting there arguing with yourself. Should I hit snooze? Should I do this? What am I going to do? Before the clutter comes into your mind, think to yourself, today is a new day. Today is a new day. Anything is possible. I'm starting to accomplish my goals. I feel good. It's going to be a good day. Set these positive seeds into your mind, into your energy, and then take a deep breath and see how you feel. See how the day goes. When you start to put the assumption that it's going to be a good day, that it's a new start, that it's a clean slate, then good things happen. If you start the day thinking, today's going to be rough, I don't want to see my boss, or I don't feel like doing this job, or I don't feel like doing this, you start to compress and also basically make the energy heavier than it needs to be. So there you go. That's basically what the Catalyst card is saying. Let's now look at all of the other cards and see where some of these new beginnings could be, where you can elevate your emotions, what challenges might be coming through. At the center of the spread, we have the Knight of Cups. I really like this as the heart or the center of your Celtic cross this month, because what it basically does is sets the tone that passion, creativity, and love should sort of be the nucleus that holds everything together. So my question to you is, what is it that brings you a sense of passion in your life right now? Who is it that is sort of igniting that flame in your heart? What is it that makes you want to create and do something? Whatever it is that's kind of opening up your passion, your love, your creativity, this is where you're going to want to channel the energy, because it's going to bring you the most passion, the most productivity, and you're going to see the most movement there. And this is a Knight card, which shows things progressing. And just like everything that we've been talking about, this is about movement, whether it's seeing that ball moving through the air or watching someone march in on a horse. Now, the thing with this particular Knight that is definitely worth mentioning is that they're not looking in your direction. So if it's you, what this is saying is you may miss an opportunity because you're focused on something else. So the first thing I'd like you to think about is, whatever you're focusing on, are you really engaged with that? Is that your true passion? Sometimes we find ourselves either in a love relationship, working a job, going to school, or even just doing some sort of an activity in our life, not because we want to do it, but because it's become habitual. It's something that we've done always, and we just keep doing it, maybe long after it no longer suits us. Or maybe we're compromising or settling for something because we don't see a better opportunity around. If you fall in that particular category this month, I challenge you to be very much aware of other opportunities around you. This is the month to try new things, to explore a little bit, because if you stay focused on the one thing that's not truly filling your heart with passion, with joy, really making you feel like you're experiencing life, you could miss out on that other thing that is right behind you. So be present, really listen to things, really soak everything in, and make sure that you're not missing something that could be a far better match for your energy. The other thing is, this could be a difficult time to catch someone's attention. If you're trying to pursue someone, they may be playing hard to get, and that's very much what I see here, because it's still a Knight of Cups. There's still interest. They're kind of looking over their shoulder, and they're holding the cup, which shows some sort of interest. There's something that either the universe is presenting and saying, are you sure you want it? Or there could be someone in your life that likes to be chased a little bit, wants a little pursuit, wants to make sure that you want them. So don't be afraid to express some sort of interest, because I see a reciprocal energy coming through, but the person may lack the confidence that hopefully you have this month. So take a chance. The worst that can happen is you find out that, okay, I actually am doing the best thing. This thing wasn't any better. But if you don't explore what's right around the corner, you're not going to know that. And I think it's all in the conviction and the confidence and the way that you convey it. I definitely think there's some mutual interest here, but you have to take the first step. There's something coy about that card that I had to kind of talk about. One other thing is, I think that if you truly want to do something in your life, you go all in. As I look at this particular Knight of Vessels, he's not all the way in the water. If you're really going to kind of like dive in and commit. So that's the other piece that I have here. And this is also supported by the card that is crossing it, which is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is the quintessential card that kind of comes through to tell you, hey, look at how far you've come. Don't give up now. You want to persevere. You want to fight for this, because it's that fighting spirit that is going to lead to success. Typically, the illustration for the Nine of Wands would show somebody that looks a little bit worn out from all of this journey, but they haven't given up. They have bandaged themselves around the forehead. They're standing their ground, all the wands behind them representing the lessons, the strength, the perseverance that they have. And they see what's ahead of them. They're not willing to give up that vision. The morning meditation, that first light meditation that I talked about, can help you keep your fire, keep that spark, keep that vision. And so try that this month if you're feeling a little bit like you're wavering from your purpose. As we look at this Nine of Wands, there is a little bit of a warning for some of you that you will have to stand ground, perhaps in a tricky situation. You may be put in the hot seat this month. Someone may really test you to see, are you sure you want to do this? and there could be stiff competition for a job, for a partner, for some opportunity. Don't give up. That's basically what these two cards are saying. Definitely go all in if you want something, and don't waver from your vision of whatever it is, and just keep being perseverant. It may not happen in the time that you want. That doesn't mean it won't happen. You're going to kind of wear down the universe on this, and eventually it'll be like, all right, I believe you. You're going to get what you want, but you have to keep working hard, okay? Let's look at deep past now. This is your foundational card. This is showing what baggage you might be bringing into the month, and I think this is a very important card, again, when we have the first light meditation. Because the message here is about forgiving the past. The Five of Pentacles for me has to do with an event in the past, oftentimes tied to a family member, usually like a mother or father, sometimes a sibling. What happens in the Five of Pentacles is there is a feeling oftentimes of being neglected, forgotten, left out in the cold, or sometimes not being noticed. So perhaps you were in a family where there was just a lot of big personalities. This card shows that it's sort of like, hey, I'm still here. Even if my voice isn't as loud as everyone else, I matter. It can also come up if there's a really competitive work environment or school that you went to where you just felt like you couldn't make your mark. It can be a parent that didn't support you in the way that they should have. Maybe they even chipped away at your self-worth or your self-confidence, saying things as direct as, you'll never do this, or you're not smart, or stop thinking that you can, do X, Y, Z. This month, I want you to first and foremost love yourself and start to invest in that piggy bank of you, thinking, I am worth this, I can do this. Even if I didn't have the support from that parent, from that friend, from that teacher, from that sibling, I am more than their words. And you can use that as motivation to kind of prove yourself right. I like that better than prove them wrong, but prove your worth. The second piece, and this is more important, is to try to find a way to forgive yourself and then maybe forgive that person. Because everything that happens in our life, even those unfortunate events where people fail us or make us feel like we're a failure, they provide a sense of inner strength and empathy. We start to build empathy for others because have you ever noticed that typically people that have had a really rough life or a lot of challenges, they have a couple choices, but a lot of times they go down the path of trying to do better. And they end up being some of the most beautiful, resplendent souls on the planet because they absolutely understand what the other side of the coin is like. And give yourself credit and even give some of these teachers in your life. They were teachers, even if you didn't like them. A bully, a teacher that didn't believe in you, a parent that failed you, a sibling that teased you. All of these things made you stronger. They gave you mettle. They gave you a thicker skin. They gave you strength. And now you're going to wear that like a badge of honor, like the Nine of Wands, and you're going to move forward and choose a different path. You took the maybe difficult roundabout route, and now you're going to be stronger and you don't have to have that pain anymore. So in the morning ritual, you can eventually start to go back to that time and just kind of give yourself a hug and think, I love myself then, I especially love myself now, and I love the journey that I've taken, even if it's been hard. I wouldn't change a thing. Because if you can feel no regrets, basically, then you're free. You're not holding on to a person in the past. I actually have a little bit of pain in my stomach right around the solar plexus. So some of you are holding on to that power dynamic that maybe someone was taking away from you. Own the power, own that flame. You're now creating your own light this month. Five of Pentacles is a limiting card when it comes to possibilities. Start to think now that it's time for people to come to you. You're going to be an attractive force. You're not going to demand, you're not going to beg. You're going to shift the dynamic. Your energy is going to be stronger, brighter, and lighter, and people are going to be drawn to you, okay? One other thing with the Five of Pentacles, sometimes it can show a slight weakness in the body. For me, it usually indicates, as you can see here, something in the extremities, in the knees, in the legs, in the joints. So if you're struggling from any sort of pain there, obviously go to a doctor. Also just focus on, are you exercising enough? Do you need to pay attention to weight, because a lot of times that can affect the joints? And the last thing that I'm seeing is that some of you just want to be careful that you don't trip or fall over something. So this could be because you're holding your phone, texting, and not paying attention to some sort of a distraction on the floor, and all of a sudden you trip over a rock, a stone, a toy, whatever it is. Just really be present. And the other piece is that there might be some balance issues. I don't see the tower, so I actually think it's more likely that you could trip here. So just be careful. It's probably something that's on your path, and if you pay attention, you can just step over it. So be very, very aware, and try not to unnecessarily sort of be reading a book, looking at your phone, or talking without looking at the ground. You got to kind of be aware. And that awareness was something we saw here at the center. It's not just about love, it's also about other things around you, distractions, opportunities, etc. Looking now at recent past, it's actually a very good card. We have the Temperance card. And this is that neutral kind of mind that I was talking about being a key to success. So if you can try to take things in, whether it's criticism, whether it's an opportunity, and not get too angry, not to get too excited, just sort of evaluate it from a bird's eye view and then continue to move on your own path, that's going to be key. This is a Zen card, and if you can find your Zen, fantastic. The only thing that I would say with Temperance, it's in your past. This is also kind of going hand in hand with the Knight of Cups that's in the opposite direction, which is, don't get too comfortable in a particular situation. The only way to grow in life is to continue to challenge yourself, to try new things, to be unafraid of putting yourself out there. So I like Temperance when it comes to how you deal with conflict, or how you approach everything in your life, just kind of being able to take it in without jumping to a conclusion. That's good. But if you are lacking sort of risk-taking or ambition or the ability to change, Temperance would be something you want to look at. So even Temperance needs to be sort of moderate. You don't want to always be there. You have to occasionally make a decision and take a risk and take movement. Let's move along now to your crowning card. We have the Queen of Pentacles, and I really like this, especially after what we just talked about in the deep past. This is about as far away from the Five of Pentacles as you can get. So for some of you, this could indicate just this new self-worth that you found within your own body, within your own mind. You feel like, I am ready for change. I am worth the opportunities that are starting to come into my life. And that's exactly how you bring about change. If you can see your worth, others can see it as well. This can also indicate the sale of a big ticket item like a house, or a purchase of the same sort of thing. So maybe it's a house, a car, or some other major investment. You're either coming into money or deciding to invest in something. I like the card, it's upright, it feels like this is a good movement for you. This is also a card that comes through for expectant mothers or someone that might be looking at adoption or starting a family. The Queen of Coins is a very domestic card, and I see that some of you may be in a relationship and this could be something that you're looking at. Is this the next step? Should we do it? And I think this is a good time to talk about that. It does look like there might be a little bit of vacillation or indecision in that area, so keep options open. And some of you might be just trying to decide between what I said. Is it going to be biological child? Are we open to adoption? Is the timing right? So just keep an open mind. But if this is something that you really want, fight for that, because we have passion at the center and it's important for you to be happy. And that was something that I basically said right off at the very beginning here. So I like Queen of Coins. There's nothing negative that came through with that. I see growth, I see abundance, I see opportunity, and I see healing happening, especially when it comes to worth and perhaps even actual net worth. So self-worth and net worth are on an improvement sort of journey and path, and there are other places that you could be putting your time, energy, and resources this month as well. The interesting thing now is that I'm starting to see a lot of personalities creeping into your spread. So we have Queen of Coins in the crowning position, we have the Queen of Swords in the near future, and then in the ego, representing you this month and your point of view, is the Knight of Staves or the Knight of Wands. So we have three very different ways of looking at things, three very different opportunities, and perhaps three very different personalities this month. And this could be where you're kind of put in a difficult position of trying to make everybody happy. I think this month the important thing is to kind of turn on your charm, because the center card was the Knight of Cups. And by the way, when I get this many court cards, it can also be like two couples or a couple of different companies or groups that are trying to merge together. And if this is the case, then do your best to just be authentic, not to change who you are or how you're trying to deal with all of these personalities, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go back to looking at this as aspects of who you are. I just wanted to highlight that, there are a lot of different cooks in this kitchen, and it may be impossible to please everyone. All right, Queen of Swords, if we take personalities out of it, what this means in your life is that there could be a contract that you want to sign. You could be working with a lawyer. And also this month, because this is in a near future state, your communication is going to be key. How you use your words when you decide to kind of come out with any sort of announcement, that proactive energy that I was talking about way at the beginning, that's what the Queen of Swords is really getting behind. So believe what you say, really say it with conviction, and know that your passion, your conviction, and being able to get ahead of the curve, ahead of that ball, that's going to be key. And I think that's what's very, very important here. For me, the position of this card often indicates around the 15th of the month that a lot of this will be taking form, taking shape. So spend the first 2 weeks getting prepared, getting ready, having those conversations if you need to. I mentioned that there may be some different groups or different personalities. They're all showing up here. So feel free to kind of break this out into 2 or 3 different conversations if you have to. By and large, there's nothing negative with the Queen of Swords, particularly when she's upright. It's just a card of being strong in communication, okay? As we look at your ego this month, we have the Knight of Wands or Knight of Staves. And this is also good. This is about ideation. So the 2 Knight cards here, Knight of Cups, passion, ideas, love, romance, and then the Knight of Wands, which is about having an idea, deciding, kind of thinking through things, showing how you feel, but maybe not saying how you feel. So I feel that as the month goes on, a lot of the energy seems to kind of go internal. So with the Queen of Swords, there's a reminder to not keep too much inside, whether it's excitement, ideas, passion, questions. The more you can engage people around you, the better. This is illustrated by the Environment card, which is the 2 of Wands, and then the Possibilities card, Hopes, Fears, and Possibilities, which is the 2 of Cups. This one is reversed, but you still have the energy of being able to share ideas, to share the vision, and get people behind that vision. If you keep this internal, then we have another 2 here, the 2 of Swords, which is not knowing where to go. So transparency is your best friend. Being proactive, being communicative, sharing that passion, getting people excited, helping them see what you see. And notice how this 2 of Wands isn't just someone holding something and looking at it and not doing anything. This is actually kind of like what you would see with the Olympic flame, sharing that, getting someone else exciting, basically allowing for this inspiration, this idea to spread like fire in a good way. So you have a chance to do something in a business perspective where it could kind of go viral, it could catch on. Make sure that you get a patent, make sure that you work with a lawyer, make sure that you are really buttoned down when it comes to all that legal stuff. And also make sure that you negotiate the heck out of that contract, because I see a lot of potential money coming through with something like that. Don't lose vision. Don't feel like you don't have a say at the table or some sort of an ability to drive this in the direction that you want. You have a lot of power. You have the Queen card at the very crowning position of this spread, okay? So really, I'm excited about where you could be going this month. There is a chance for love and romance because the 2 of Cups is within that hopes, fears, and possibilities space. It's reversed, so the question is, again, are you ready? Is that other person ready? Is someone playing hard to get? I think, express your interest, but if the person continues to kind of keep up that kind of a charade or that kind of an approach, I would be straightforward with them and say, I already said I'm interested. If you're interested, great. Otherwise, you might be spending your time and energy doing something else. Fight for that person if you really want to kind of be in that relationship, but also ask yourself, are they fighting for me too? Because one thing that I want you to overcome is that feeling that you want someone to, you shouldn't have to ask. It should be 2 people meeting each other on the same playing field. And that's part of your first light meditation again. I want you to see yourself as equal, as worthy, as successful. And then this person should want to engage with you on the same level. So as long as you have that in your partnership, whether it's a friendship, a marriage, or a new lover that's coming into your life, your partners or partner needs to kind of see you on the same level playing field. Okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and I'll reflect back on some of these cards as we kind of deepen in the energy in those areas. All right, we'll start first with health. Health is mind, body, and spirit, but a lot of times it is emotional or mental, and then it has ramifications on your body. That's absolutely what we see here. We have the forgiveness card coming through. I mentioned that a lot of times the Five of Pentacles has to do with childhood, and we see that inner child being represented here. So if someone hurt you, mistreated you, neglected you, or just wasn't there for you in the way that you wanted, first of all, love yourself and try to find a way to forgive them or see if you can heal that inner child. That's the most important thing. You may need to ask for some support or help this month. Get that if you need it. Realize, though, there is something really powerful about the power of forgiveness, because if you hold on to hatred, anger, frustration, any sort of the lower frequencies that you might imagine here that I didn't mention, really what it does is it holds you in that moment in time. You can't move forward. It's like an anchor. And then it also is kind of painful. If you've ever worked on cord cutting, it depends on the meditation, but sometimes when I close my eyes and work with Archangel Michael or Zerachiel, or I just imagine that the cords are disappearing, sometimes it almost feels like these little pins that are being pulled out. You feel a little prick of energy as it leaves you, and it can kind of hurt a little bit, and then it heals. You can fill up that sort of etheric wound that you have. But the longer you hold on to it and the more energy you put into it, the deeper that hook is. So start to feel that the energetic cord is unraveling with each day, that you're feeling less and less attached to that moment in time, so that you can catch up to your life right here, right now, so that you're not stuck way back there. So I want you to forgive so that you can heal and be a fully integrated adult person and happy. But you have to go back to the trigger, and you have to start to work on loving and forgiving yourself, and then maybe finding a way to forgive whoever wronged you. Okay? As we look at wealth, we have a big card here. We have Horus, a god that kind of works with that journey between life and death. It says, Cosmic Gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. The card was reversed, so there could be a sort of internal self-doubt or disbelief when it comes to what you can do. And sometimes it doesn't matter like how spiritually accelerated you are in your studies, it still is surprising when you see the manifestation happen. Just kind of observe things and think, it's okay, I'm going to just play around with this. Be playful with your approach at manifestation this month. And I think you might be pleasantly surprised. I like that we have a gateway card here. So when we're looking at wealth, this means that when you change your perspective on what you can do, new opportunities may actually knock on your door. You may have someone talk to you and they'll say, hey, you know what? I actually heard there's a job over here. Have you thought about that? Or someone may, a headhunter may pick up the phone and call you. You'll notice this maybe after a month or two of doing this first light meditation. What this is essentially going to allow you to do is to go in, and it's almost like you're hacking your mental program and you're putting an upgrade in there, and it's going to bring in things in a sort of more magnetic way than you thought you ever could. So I want you to just trust me, do the programming this month through the meditation, through the mantra, through the visualization. Keep doing it. Be the 9 of Wands this month with that consistency. 1 minute a day, you can totally do that. And as you start to change your approach towards who you are, what you can do, when it's going to happen, all of a sudden you're going to start to notice that things open up in your life. This is very much an environment card too. So what I'm seeing for you is that you're going to notice new opportunities around you. You're going to be more awake, more aware. Just like this 9 of Cups, look around. You might be surprised what starts to happen. So some really exciting things can come through, but it does take that consistent approach towards meditation and changing your frequency, changing your program. And part of your program change can also be deciding to let go of the past. At least releasing it. Forgiveness begins with release. The words "I forgive you" may come way later, but starting to think that I'm no longer defined by that person, that thing that happened, that time. I am now recreating my reality. When you change mind, body, and spirit, at a certain point, you will have evolved to the point that you'll look back and barely recognize what happened in the past, and you'll be able to look at it with new eyes. So work on the program change, and then forgiveness may also follow. So not surprisingly, health and wealth are intertwined. Forgiveness, reprogramming, creating this portal of opportunity, looking in your life as synchronicities start to show up. It's going to be exciting for you. It may take a month or two of programming, but keep it up. All right, that was your wealth card. Now let's take a look at love. The message I see in this card is one of service. If you look really closely here, we see someone holding on to a tree. I see that as family, I see that as community, and I see this beautiful shower of energy coming out of it. There's a rainbow on one side, there's a little bit of a cloud on another. And through healing others, through service, particularly through helping maybe children or underprivileged people in your life, someone who might have been going through the same struggles that you did. If you can help them on some levels, you can help this inner child. So if we can't change the past, but we can absolutely affect today and the future. And this is where you may find your power when it comes to healing relationships, kind of getting rid of that energy that I was feeling in the solar plexus. So if you feel drawn to service, absolutely do that this month. The other thing that I see with this is that love wants to come through. I actually hear an old song in my head, which is "Shower the People You Love with Love." The card is reversed, which actually puts you in the place of receiving. So if you can really feel like I am ready to receive love and abundance in all forms this month, that opens you up for that again. So adding that into your program, feeling that mind, body, and spirit, and knowing that the universe is ready to give it to you. You just have to be clear on what kind of love, what kind of relationship, what kind of engagement you're looking for, but it's there, and there's a little bit of work to do in the healing area, healing your past, maybe helping someone in your life where you didn't have that chance, you can help someone else. And that's really that's the best that we can do sometimes in this world, is to try to make it a little bit better for the next generation. Because guess what? We reincarnate, so we're still helping ourselves, but it's really about the children, and maybe 3 or 4 generations from now, when we decide to come back down on the planet, we'll be happy with the work that we did as well. So it's all connected at the end of the day. I think that if people could see the validity of reincarnation, we wouldn't have problems with sustainability. People would want ways to make sure that the planet was kept in a nice state, because this is our permanent home for many, many, many millennia, as long as we take care of it. All right, let's move along now to your destiny card. The message is about enduring. Take a stone in your hand and meditate on it. The stone absorbs you, you absorb the stone. How can you be alone if you're a part of everything? I talked about this just a second ago, how yes, we have finite time on this planet, but we're not alone, and we're not up against some sort of deadline. We have an eternal existence in our sort of soul space. So if you can make the most of every moment and every day and see your power in that, then you can be sort of as firm, as strong, and as steady as this stone here. So I want you to ground yourself in your thoughts and your hopes and your dreams, and that grounding is what's going to give you that enduring spirit that really this card is trying to encapsulate. Let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then I'll leave you with a closing word. Your channeled message this month was to be proactive, to be positive, and to really manage communication. We see here the Queen of Swords, and in the environment and possibility space, we have the Two of Wands and Two of Cups. If you can really share your passion, your ideas, even some of the things that might be bothering you, you can engage support this month. It's all right here. So if you can get ahead of things and talk to the right people in the right amount of time, anything is possible. In the catalyst position, we have some great messaging around meditating at the beginning of the day and really focusing on creating new cycles, new beginnings in your life. It's this possibility or believing in the possibilities, I should say, that's really going to open them up in your life. Something we saw here when we looked at the Cosmic Gateway card in Wealth. We'll talk more about that in a moment. At the center of the spread, you have the Knight of Cups, showing you that love, opportunity, creativity, all of this is really something that you can tap into this month. The fact that this particular knight is not facing us, though, it kind of adds an interesting context. There is a warning, perhaps, that if you want something enough that you'll have to kind of fight for it, and that's what we see here. But I also think there's a challenge to allow things to come to you, because one of the things that we saw in the deep past was this feeling of being neglected and not having to beg for things. So if you can just start to expect that things are going to turn around, that you don't always have to request or chase, that sometimes it's okay to be chased as well, it puts you on an even playing field. When it comes to your goals and ambitions, however, this card is very clear, and it's saying that you don't want to give up on those sorts of things, that perseverance is ultimately going to be what helps you achieve your goal. Temperance is the way that you deal with some of the day-to-day trouble or issues in your life. Try to stay neutral. Really try to keep that bird's eye perspective. However, don't get too safe in one particular way of being. And that was another thing that we saw with this knight that was curious. He wasn't fully sort of submerged. Don't go half-hearted in something and then hope that it works. Go all in, work really hard, and then be patient and allow the universe to kind of catch up. Your crowning card shows eventual success here with the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is also a domestic bliss card, so some of you may be moving into a house or selling a house, coming into money, or deciding to start a family. The fact that it's upright is very positive, and it portends improvement no matter where you're at with your finances. There's a lot of personalities that are coming through. We have a couple of knights, a couple of queens. This could be two different partnership opportunities. This could also just be what we were talking about earlier, where you have to really be proactive and talk to all of these folks. You might be the connective thread that's keeping everyone sane, the nucleus of your own sort of family group or community. So keep that open communication, as we see here with the Queen of Swords, and demonstrate, lead by example. That's something I didn't talk about originally when I saw the Knight of Staves here, or the Knight of Wands. But people are looking to you for leadership, so even if you don't feel like a queen or a king in this card, it's showing that you still can kind of lead the charge. People are going to be taking cues off your body language, the way that you carry yourself, and how you sort of set the tone for action. So don't be afraid to move forward here. We have a very cooperative Two of Wands. Sometimes this is a solo card, but in this particular card, we show passing on that flame, getting someone excited. I mentioned that this could be a viral idea. In that case, the Queen of Swords can represent legal protection, so make sure that you patent and talk to a lawyer in that particular instance. We have the Two of Cups in a possibility space here this month. You really just want to be clear on what you want, and again, reciprocity is key here. And I think that's one of the things from the past that you want to overcome. Make sure that that person really has your back. Make sure that you're ready for that situation. And for those of you that might be starting a family, just make sure that both partners are equally as prepared for what's ahead. The Two of Swords shows a little bit of an impasse, but of all the Swords cards, I really don't fear Two of Swords. It just means that you have to make a decision. We see the owl here on top of the Two of Swords, which means you have all the information that you need to move forward. Simply take that leap of faith and don't stay at this impasse too long. When we expand the forecast in health, forgiveness is key. And I think this is going back to something from the past, from your childhood, finding a way to forgive yourself and hopefully forgive someone else. I mentioned that forgiveness can first begin with just release, and then eventually you can find your way to forgiveness. A lot of movement is available for you this month when we look at wealth. We have a Cosmic Gateway card here, and just to reread it, it says, your thoughts are magnetic and powerful, miraculous changes are occurring. That really is reinforced with your daily prayer or meditation, so please keep up with that. A lot of love wants to come through this month. One thing that could actually open you up to even more abundance is service. So if you feel called to become some sort of a healer, a mentor, a teacher, this card very much is in that energy. But it's showing also an eventuality when it comes to receiving love. And we see that here in the Two of Cups too. I think when you heal the past, when you start to believe in your own self-worth, the type of partner that you pull in is going to really be on an equal footing, and then this card would probably have been in an upright position. The outcome card was really about being grounded, centered, and having that endurance that you need to kind of accomplish all of your goals and dreams. Meditating with a rock, with a crystal, is a very, very effective way to do this, and having that sort of sense of being connected to everything was something that we had talked about throughout this spread. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but hopefully you got all the insight that you needed to really travel through this month feeling prepared, feeling optimistic, and feeling really able to handle all of the challenges and opportunities that come your way. That's my goal. If you ever want to talk a little bit more about either something that we covered today, or if you have a question that's popped up because of a new activity or opportunity in your life and you want a little bit of insight on that, feel free to reach out to me. You can click on the first card or the first link below the video. This will take you to a page on my website where you can look at rates and availability. And if it makes sense, feel free to book an appointment with me, and I look forward to talking to you. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that everything that you see here is viewer supported. If you would like to make a profound impact, one way that you can do that is by becoming a patron. The second card and the second link will take you to a section of my site where it kind of outlines all the different ways that you can do this. It can be a one-time contribution as small as $1. You can do an ongoing contribution through a third-party site like Patreon, or now you can even just click the join button here and become a channel member. Each and every one of these methods allows me to not only buy supplies, but more importantly, set up the calendar time to record, edit, and produce all of the videos that you see here. So if you've done this in the past, today was a direct result of all of your love and support. And if you loved today and you just want to give a small amount back, just know that you're making the next round possible. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And the third way is super easy and accessible to everyone. It just involves a few clicks. I would really love for you, if you haven't already done this, to follow me on social media and consider sharing what you see here on your social media feeds. And if you click the third card and third link, there'll be a page on my site that kind of outlines all of the different networks I'm on: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my newsletter, and will allow you to really connect on all of those different platforms. For those of you that do choose to share this on your own social media feeds, thank you so much. This helps me accomplish one of my big life goals, actually a few of them, which include raising the collective consciousness, starting intelligent conversations about spirituality, so this can be something that we all feel more comfortable expressing in day-to-day life, and also shining a light in the dark. I've mentioned before that I really hope that we can all become like lighthouses or beacons in this time of, uncertainty or darkness for some people. And as I pass on the torch, which we see here, I want all of you to do something similar to what I'm doing. That's my hope, that's my dream. So thank you for sharing the video. That's one small step towards that. For the closing word today, I want to focus on 2 or 3 cards that I think are super powerful, and I want you to kind of take away before you turn off this video. The first one is that anything is possible. We have this Cosmic Gateway card that's coming through in your career or your resource space. If you believe in yourself, you start to shift the perspective of others in your life. You walk away from this old version of yourself where someone made you feel less than. You really start to own the energy that we see in the Queen of Coins or the Queen of Pentacles instead. The other thing is, I really love the imagery here that you can pass on the torch. Really think about right now what it is that you want your legacy to be when you step off this planet, when you're in your life review with your spirit guides, with your higher self, with your soul. When you look back on this life, what is the indelible mark that you've left? If you don't know yet, this is a time to start to think about that, because otherwise we're just kind of ambling about, and I want you to have a clear vision. And I think that's one thing that's important. I mentioned about being proactive. In order to be proactive, you need to have an idea of what your goals and ambitions are, and not just sort of what was set up for you when you were a kid or what you committed to because you just had to pick something. I really want you to get back to what your passion is. Was there something you turned your back on when you were a kid, or at some point in your life because someone didn't think you could do it? This month I'm encouraging you to know that you can do it, and that just as we see these blossoms kind of coming through the stones here, wonderful things can happen in areas or parts of your life that people may not have understood that you have power or insight or abilities. I want you to shine and own that unique voice, that unique nature, and do something really special on this planet in this life. We may live many lives, but this is the one that's most important because we're right here, we're right now. This message is really important because you're listening right now. And I want you to know that you are starting a new cycle. You are at the precipice of a new gateway, so make the most of it, okay? So this brings your monthly reading to a close. I wanted to bring Apollo in so I could share some of his love and kindness with you, and also just a reminder to be present. Spend some time with someone that you love, with a child, with a pet, with a loved one. one of the things that I saw here at the center was with the Knight of Cups. I really want you to make sure that love is in your life. And if you have someone or something like that that brings you joy, make that a priority this month as well, okay? Until I see you again, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and enjoy your life.